The Other Daughter, Chapter 8. I Am the Affair, Baby. That's right, the living, breathing reminder of every scandalous headline and whispered judgment. Owen might not have the most conventional morals, but his skills are undeniably top-notch. I've actually learned quite a lot from working with him. Still, I always keep my guard up. He has this habit of flirting under the guise of work, thinking every young woman will fall for his act. Once, he joked that I was like a slippery fish he couldn't catch. I played dumb and pretended not to understand, keeping up the clueless act. Middle-aged men can be so sleazy. It's like a mouse falling into a vat of oil, slimy through and through. 6 months later, Bella returned from abroad with a master's degree from a college I'd never heard of. A quick Google search revealed it was just a diploma mill, and even then, she took an extra year to graduate. My dad made her vice general manager to groom her as his successor. With no actual work experience, she spent her days either showing off in meetings with partners or berating department managers for not doing their jobs. Everyone knew she was the CEO's daughter. Who would dare challenge her? They treated her like royalty, catering to her every whim. Naturally, this inflated her ego, and she started believing she was some kind of business prodigy, destined to succeed at everything she touched. Meanwhile, in 6 months, I had familiarized myself with Nova's operations and built solid connections across departments. Watching Bella, a complete novice, stumble around was amusing. If I wanted to set her up for failure, it'd be all too easy. I ran into Andrew again when he dropped Bella off at work. They were walking in as I was heading out. Our eyes met and he froze, his expression a mix of surprise and something he was trying to suppress. Bella, annoyed, waved me aside. "Are you new here? Don't you know basic etiquettes?" I bowed slightly. "Good morning, President Baldwin." Funny, isn't it? She'd been here for a few days and was already calling herself president. Andrew lowered his gaze, avoiding eye contact. Once Bella marched into the building, he caught up to me. "I went to Biella to find you. They said you'd been transferred here." I ignored him and kept walking. With his hands shoved in his pockets, he trailed behind me. "I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't have left that project unfinished. I stopped abruptly, and he nearly bumped into me. "Jenny," he started, but his words faltered. "Don't call me that," I snapped, tears welling up on cue. My voice trembled, laced with pain and defiance. "Do you rich, powerful bosses find it fun to toy with someone like me?" He panicked. "No, I didn't." "Didn't?" I stepped closer, forcing him back until our noses were almost touching. "Then why didn't you tell me you were engaged to Bella Baldwin? Why didn't you refuse my concert tickets? Why did you accept my chestnut cake like it was some big surprise? We talked about wine, music, dreams. What was going through your mind? Do you have any idea how I felt when I found out from colleagues that you were our CEO's future son-in-law? I gave up my position at BL and transferred to Nova just to avoid you. Why won't you let me move on? I'm begging you, leave me alone." I turned and walked away, leaving him frozen in place, looking completely lost. Now I knew how he felt about me, but his affection wasn't enough to make him break off his engagement. For someone like him, tied to a corporate dynasty, marrying someone of similar status was non-negotiable. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Bella standing by the entrance, watching the entire scene unfold. Perfect. That was the point. I hid and pinched my thigh to force out the tears. Later, knowing she'd be visiting the development department, I placed a framed photo on my desk. In it, I was wearing a burgundy Gucci cocktail dress from a year ago, my hair curled and my smile radiant. Even if Bella didn't recognize me, she'd definitely remember the dress. We'd worn the same one to a gala and ended up in an awkward who wore it better moment. I didn't care how she reacted privately or what tantrum she threw at Andrew Williams. But after that day, she made it her mission to make my life miserable at work. Firing me would have been easier, but she wasn't about to let me out of her sight. She needed to control me, to feel like she had the upper hand. Besides, she was probably scared I'd try to reconnect with Andrew if I left it. Soon, everyone at the company saw me as a whore and seductress, someone who used men to climb the ladder. First Henriette L. Pounds, and now Owen. Whatever. Reputation wasn't my concern. I could endure the whispers and even Bella's petty sabotage. But her antics emboldened Owen. He'd started looking at me like I was his next conquest. Men like him only cherish what hasn't been touched. Now that he thought I'd been bitten by Henry, he felt free to take his turn. Fine. I'd put up with him long enough. It was time to deal with him and give Andrew another push while I was at it. The company hosted a product launch, followed by a banquet with partners. It was Bella's first big event at Nova, and she was determined to shine. Checking her shopping records through the company intranet, I saw she'd splurged on a custom ice blue Dior gown that shimmered like sunlight on snow. The price tag made me gasp. There was no way I could afford it, and being a custom piece, renting wasn't an option either. Instead, I had a high-end boutique replicate. It wasn't perfect, but it was close enough. At the launch, I wore a crisp white suit, professional, polished, and completely in control. The event was a success, and everyone congratulated me. Andrew was there too, his gaze glued to me, completely ignoring Bella, who looked like she was about to explode. At the banquet, Bella's Dior gown turned heads, paired with a dazzling sapphire set that screamed wealth. I changed into my replica dress. With my hair down and a single diamond earring brushing my bare shoulder, I stepped into the hall. The room fell silent. Bella's face was priceless, barely holding it together, as fury bubbled under her forced smile. As we passed each other, she hissed, "How shameless can you be? Last time, I thought it was a coincidence. You and that knockoff dress are disgusting. Take it off and leave." I smirked, leaning close and whispered, "What if I don't?" Her composure snapped. She grabbed my dress and snarled, "Then get the hell out." With a loud rip, the fabric tore, revealing the white silk slip beneath. I gasped, clutching my chest as the room collectively held its breath.